Hello and welcome to another edition of Comics and Pop. I'm Jonathan Rosen, along with Carlos Hidaraga and Troy Cannon. And today we're going to be talking about Marvel's What If Episode 5, Marvel Zombies. And before we get into it, I'm going to say, you guys know, and I've been bugging you guys forever, I love zombies, love them. I want to do an episode, and I keep getting pushback on just zombie stuff. All right, I hate the Marvel zombie stuff. I hate it. I'll just say that right up. When the comic first came out, I loved the idea. Oh, zombies, Marvel, this is gonna be so cool. I hate seeing the heroes as zombies. I cannot stand it. So before I go into all the things that I don't like about it, though, let's go. I'll go to you guys. So let's start with Troy this week.
Okay. I know every once in a while I've got this long little thing for answers and everything, but with this one, there's a reason. Okay. I dig the mythology. I dig monsters and mayhem and that kind of stuff. It's what pulled me into the comic books to begin with, dinosaurs, all that kind of stuff, right? So with zombies, before George Romero, there was a certain kind of zombie. Mm-hmm. And after George Romero, there was another kind of zombie. So when I'm watching the show, I'm thinking, wow, this is like a mix. Because before George Romero, if somebody zapped you and you became a zombie, you had all of the, if you were in the military, you remembered all that stuff. If you were a carpenter, you remembered all that stuff. If you could run, you can still run now. You just couldn't die and someone was controlling you. Then George Romero changed it, and now they eat people, and they want your brains, and the only way to kill them is.
So it's like more of a voodoo type thing before George Romero. It's like kind of like
yeah. Now it's like a science thing. He scienced it up, but these zombies seem to be a mix because they seem to be able to still use their powers. They seem to still be able, like Falcon could fly. He remembered how to use his suit. He was flying, and he was fighting Okoye, and I'm thinking, how's he doing that? Because he's brain dead, right? But apparently he wasn't, because all of them were doing the Wasp threw a zombie at them when they were leaving because she was mad. She's like, oh, they got away, freaking. And she threw a zombie at him. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, how is she doing that? And then at the very end, we're giving up the stuff, right? We're giving up the ghost.
Absolutely. Everyone's seen it by now. They were watching this.
At the end, when Thanos is standing there with the gauntlet, and I'm like, wait, he has enough intestinal fortitude to still be able to control the gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet, all of the stones. Because, what was it? Ebony Maw was like, oh, no one before you has ever had the power to control one, let alone two stones. And I'm thinking, he's got the glove on, man. And he's a freaking zombie. How's he doing that? That's the thing that got me. I'm watching it. There was a bunch of stuff. But the thing that stuck out to me was, how are they doing? They're brain dead. How are they using their powers and stuff?
Did you read this Marvel Zombies comic?
With the hunger, yeah, the hunger. It was like a disease. It was the hunger. The hunger was driving them and everything. But they didn't explain why they were still brain dead and still brain alive. To me, the door's open or it's closed. And here, it was a screen porch. So I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. It's a screen. It's open and closed. But that was my initial take on that.
All right, Carlos, let me hear your thoughts before I go into my diatribe.
So, Marvel Zombies. I actually have a lot to say about this one. It's kind of funny because Jonathan and I we've been friends for like 30 years now, over 30 years, and one of my best friends is in the world, but we kind of don't like the same things. We always Jonathan's a Met fan, I'm a Yankee fan, and so on, and I love Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies is like one of my favorite things one of my favorite storylines in the comics. I'm going to separate the comics from the What If episode, even though this is, we're talking about What If, I'm going to be a rebel and talk about the comics. So the history of the Marvel Zombies, right? Mark, one of the Marvel writer, Mark Millar, he was writing Ultimate Fantastic Four. And I think it was like issue 21 to 24 or 23 or something like that, that they introduced the Marvel Zombies into Marvel. Basically what happened was it was an alternate universe, and the zombie Reed Richards tried to trick Reed into opening up a portal so that they can come in and, you know, and eat Earth, whatever, basically, right? So obviously the plan was foiled, but everybody really liked this story. So Marvel decided to hire this little known writer named Robert Kirkman. And they were like, hey, let's give you Marvel Zombies. Why don't we do Marvel Zombies? And he was excited as hell because, you know, Marvel Zombies, you know, the guy loved zombies. And he was, you know, he was a little bit known. His main claim to fame at the time was, you know, a little known comic book called Invincible, right? And Invincible now is huge. It's, you know, it's you know, so this guy, you know, became big time. And what made him become big time is not just Marvel Zombies. After Marvel Zombies, he did also this little known TV series called The Walking Dead, which is one of my favorite, you know, well, yeah, one of my favorite shows of all time. Up until now, up until they got rid of Rick, and then, you know, whatever. That's a whole other story. But Marvel Zombies in the comics, to me it was a miniseries, right? And then it was so popular that they made a whole bunch of other, you know, followed up, and they're still going. They still do other things, you know. Marvel Zombies, it's so popular, and you know, it was a really, really cool story. Now the What If episode of my problem with it was that you can't really fit that whole history of Marvel Zombies into just a little half-hour What If episode, right? And obviously, you know, they took their own creative licensing and they made it so that, you know, actually, you know what I was thinking about? What If doesn't like Hank Pym, bro? They hate
I was thinking that same thing.
Hank Pym is like a villain to them.
Yes.
You know, he was the one who tried to kill all the Avengers and that the what episode, episode 3 of the What If, and now he's the one responsible because his wife came back from the you know, from the or whatever where she was trapped and she was a zombie, so she brought in the zombie apocalypse, right? So they're against Hank Pym. It was cool. I mean, the story for itself, it was cool. I think it just was too condensed, and it wasn't, you know, it was kind of like, okay, you know, the Hulk arrives on Earth, like, you know, linked to the Avengers, but the Marvel Zombies are here, so now they have to try to figure out how to get rid of them. So they, you know, they go to Jersey, and the Vision is calling them, but the reason the Vision is calling them there is because, you know, he's tricking them to get there because he's feeding Wanda superheroes, I guess, so she can eat. And then, you know, okay, then, you know, let's take the technology and let's go to Wakanda, and let's get to Wakanda. But when you get to Wakanda, Thanos is there, right? And that's how it kind of ends. So it was kind of like too fast. Everything that they tried to put too much into it.
You only have half
right?
an hour. So.
Right, exactly. So kind of like to introduce What If Marvel Zombies, you know, it's too big of a universe for somebody who was a Marvel Zombies fan to do in just a half hour. So that was my beef with it.
Well, first, a couple of things. I mean, I'm going to go into my little diatribe now. Here we go. First of all, I saw today, I don't know if you saw this, that they're going to release this whole bunch of Marvel Zombies, like, you know, action figures and, you know, pops, the thing. And I was like,
they've been doing that forever.
I know, who would like that? And I'm like, I know the guys.
They've been doing those forever. They've had those. They have Marvel.
No, based on the What If one.
Right, they're doing it on the What If now. Yeah.
Right. So here's the thing. Okay, I mentioned I just hated the comic, and they repeated the scene in the comic. That two of the things that I hated in the comics the most. One of them was in the scene. That was the one with the Black Panther, where they're like feeding him a body part at a time, to, you know. And I hated that. I hated that in the comics. I hated seeing that in the show. It got to me deep inside. Like, I'm just picturing, you know, the hero being fed to the zombies a body part at a time. So I hated that aspect of it, and they repeated it there. And I did not necessarily buy the Thanos part at the end. Although I'm sure that they could have just like rushed him as soon as he appeared, but you know, he's got the gauntlet. He, like, you know, you guys just said he's got the gauntlet, and you know, all he has to do is think, okay, you know, you guys are not zombies anymore, or whatever it is, and it's disappeared. I mean, I'll suspend disbelief. Maybe they attacked him, but it was still very hard for me to grasp that scene with Thanos with the gauntlet as a zombie at the end.
Right. So I guess the question on that would be was he did they attack him and turn him into a zombie after he had the gauntlet, or did he get the gauntlet after he was a zombie? Right, because I mean, if he has the gauntlet, they can't, you know, he can just snap and get rid of all the zombies.
Right, exactly. That's exactly my point. That's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching this. But And the only thing that I'm really glad that they did not do in the What If, and I kept waiting for it the whole time that they did do in the comics, they did not have Spider-Man coming to the zombie. So I did not care that they did Iron Man because that's not my guy, but I did not care about the other thing. But I'm glad that they didn't turn Spider-Man into a zombie here because I just hated that whole thing in the comics when he killed Mary Jane, killed Aunt May, attacked them. So that bothered me. So Spider-Man is the savior, the future savior of humanity if he could do it. So that's the only thing that I was happy that they did not do. But it bothered me so much. It was like such a dark episode. And where's my light what if? I want to see some good what ifs, but they're not doing that. We're getting darker as the series goes along, it seems like. So
this is Zack Snyder's what if.
Right. So I was a little bit bothered by that, by the showing of all the heroes. Like I said, I'm happy that Spider-Man, but it's still I'm seeing him hop around on the Black Panther, just hop around because his leg's been eaten. So that bothered me. And I don't remember in the comics, was it Vision that did that to Black Panther? I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Pretty sure.
It was Vision? I was wondering if it was just her that did it. I don't remember if it was Vision that did it or just her that did it. Because I did not buy that from Vision. Just, again, like we just talked about Doctor Strange, Vision is another one who sees the whole thing that, the many outweigh the few. He's another one that would realize that to me. So I didn't remember if he's the one that did it in the comic. And I have to go back and look at that. But I just could not. He changed too much too quickly for me too. Like, oh, I've done a horrible thing. And then like in 5 minutes later, oh, I realized that I did a horrible thing. I'm going to help you guys escape now. So
right. That's the whole thing to me. It was so much information to just try to fit into a little half-hour episode. So I didn't like that because being a fan of the show, I didn't like that.
This is going to blow your mind. But I think, I can't remember clearly, but I think I used to yell Kang because he was coming and I knew he was coming. Now I think these things are connected. The first one ends and Sharon Carter falls through the time loop and Shemagora is inching his way in. And then you got, who else is coming? The evil Doctor Strange is here. Mm-hmm. The evil Thanos, the eviler, hungry Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, because he's going to wipe those guys out. When they land, I mean, if you think about who was on that craft, if Thanos didn't even have the gauntlet, they're getting beaten to smithereens. With the gauntlet, it's a done deal. He's going to he's going to eat the earth. Then was at the end of the one with Peter, with the Black Panther,
right.
And Peter Quill meets his pop. His pop's going to use him for a battery and he's going to wipe out the universe.
Yes.
So each one of these is ending with a large catastrophe and a potential savior or survivor, rather, from each episode. So I'm thinking they're making an Avengers. They're going to make an Avengers. And Avengers get together because they're fighting a foe that no one hero can defeat. So all of these guys are getting together because there's going to be a large catastrophe. I don't know if it's going to be all of them, but I think they're going to get together.
That's interesting. You think there's going to be a what if Avengers?
I think that the final one or two is going to be, they're going to have to get together, and because he's getting closer. The Watcher's getting closer. Utah's getting closer. Utah, whatever his name is, he's getting closer, and he's going to be like, hey man, hey, you guys need some help. You know what? Last episode or week, I saw somebody else, and I think he's going to pull them together and be like, if you guys don't stop this, it's the end of existence or something crazy. And I think that's what it's going to be. I think
that's interesting.
That is interesting. And like now, you see, now that you got me all thinking about this, now I'm going to be really disappointed if that's not what they do. And I'm going to be like, oh, damn it, Troy.
The last episode is going to be Mephisto.
Right. Yes.
Let's hope. He's going to be in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think for sure he's showing up in Doctor Strange. So that was it. So my thing, I did not, I can't say I dislike this. I thought it was a good episode. I did think it was a good episode overall. I thought it was better than the Doctor Strange one, the one before it. I did. I thought it was good. I just hate the Marvel Zombies concept. I hate seeing the heroes like that. So that was my.
I love the Marvel Zombies concept. I didn't hate the episode. I thought it was a good episode. I mean, for the most part. But knowing what I know about Marvel Zombies and being a fan of it, I just didn't like that it was so short. And I love that. Like I said, I love the fact that the Hank Pym is the he's the new Doctor Doom of the What If universe, I guess, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. But and what would have been cool if they could have gotten Tom Holland to do the voice for Spider-Man. I think that would have been cool, being the fact that a lot of the different actors from the MCU are actually voicing the characters. It would have been cool to have Tom Holland do the Spider-Man voice because he played such a big role in this.
Something else I wonder, right? At the end, because I'm watching these things and I'm like, something else I'm wondering, right? Okay, Captain America and Bucky have different but similar super soldier serums. So their physique and their ability are very similar. They're almost completely on par. Captain America jumps out of the building in the cartoon, in the comic, and in the movie, lands 20 stories and gets up, dusts himself off, and he takes off, right? So with that thought in mind, when Wanda throws, because she didn't crush him, when she throws the Winter Soldier, wouldn't he just land and dust himself off and get up? He should still be around. And she threw him so far that he's probably not near the zombies. He probably got up and was like, well, I guess I'm gonna go home because I don't know what's happening over there. And then the Hulk, when David Banner,
that's when bothered me to the Hulk, right? Yes.
And he put his arm up, and his arm turned green. They couldn't bite through his skin.
Yeah.
They couldn't turn him. So if they can't bite hard enough to penetrate the Hulk's skin, even though there was a bunch of them, I mean, there's 50, 60, 80, 100 people, and the Hulk's on the other side. You're still catching a beating. So I'm thinking all of those people jumping him, there's a chance he survived too. So there's probably even other survivors, like maybe Namor. If Namor knew what was going on up there, he'd probably be like, I'm not going up there. Those dudes. So there's probably.
Zombies live underwater?
Huh?
Can zombies live underwater?
I don't know. They can on The Walking Dead.
In The Walking Dead, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious about that, but I mean, they may not explore that, but I'm thinking Bucky probably just got up and walked away, and the Hulk probably smacked everybody. Maybe not Wanda, but maybe Wanda. But he probably just beat the crap out of everybody and left. And I'm thinking also Thanos. He's got the Infinity Gauntlet. He did a really stupid thing before by wiping out half the life instead of doubling half the food. Right. Is he going to bring everybody that's dead back to life so that the zombies have more to eat?
Again and again, recycle, repeat, right?
Yeah.
No, the Hulk part bothered me too. I was wondering the same thing. Can they bite through the Hulk skin? I didn't think so. So that part also got to me. And I don't now. I'm trying to remember the comic because it's been so long since I read the comic. In
the comics, the Hulk was a zombie.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know the Hulk was a zombie in the comic, but what happened? We just talked about recently Doctor Strange. How did they get Doctor Strange in the comic? Was that a surprise thing? It had to have been a surprise. Because why can't Doctor Strange just create some spell? Oh, everyone's normal again,
Right. Well, I like I said, I'm a big fan of the comic. I loved it. I read it, but I'm also a 51-year-old man with a bad memory. So I read it in a very, very long time. So to be honest with you, I don't remember how they got Doctor Strange into it. I remember the Hulk being, and I remember like they all. I remember like one of the really cool things. They all like ate Galactus. That was awesome. That was pretty cool. Yeah, there was.
Again, I'm not buying that part either. But again, I'm not buying the Galactus part either.
Well, I mean, these are superheroes, so that are doing it. It's not just it wasn't like me trying to eat Galactus,
Look, in 15 years when I'm your age, I hope I have your memory too. So
something else that bugged me that from the books all the way up to now. Okay, I'm a zombie. I'm wandering down the street, brains. I catch somebody, superhero or not, and I'm thinking I want to eat them. Looks like a hamburger. I think I'll have a hamburger. I grab them. I'm starting to bite them and chew on them and eat them. When do I stop eating them so that they can now become
a zombie? Exactly.
So, I mean, wouldn't you just eat? I mean, because if you're got the hunger and you've got to go out there and eat people, and I eat a dude and he becomes a zombie and we high five and we're like, let's go get another guy.
It's not instantaneous, right?
That guy. How
Right.
come, how come one zombie isn't like eating everybody to bones because he's so hungry? He's taking a couple nibbles. That's why they're still hungry, because they're not finishing the food on their plate. You take a couple nibbles and then you take
I'll
off.
save this for later, and it's too late.
You save it for later and I walked away. I'm wondering about that too. When do they stop? They never explained that either.
Well, that pissed me off. I don't know if you watched are you still watching Walking Dead?
Yeah, I watched it,
I,
a couple
I haven't
episodes.
watched the
tonight.
last 3 episodes of
Okay,
this
so
season.
2 episodes ago in the train, did you see that episode with Walking Dead? I'm digressing a little
Yeah.
bit here. Okay, the
Yeah.
same thing in the train. They left that Maggie leaves that kid out there in the other car to be eaten by the zombies, and exact same thing that you guys just mentioned. He becomes a zombie later after they start devouring him. How could he become a zombie if they're devouring him? There'd be nothing left. That part bothered me. They just wanted to show dramatic thing to have the kid come back and remind her that she did something wrong. But he'd be dead and he'd be food already. So
Right.
that's the same thing. I agree with you that they wouldn't be there, and they diverge on what they do too much, because I know, like in some things in the comics, like they had Spider-Man, like I talked about, eating Mary Jane and Aunt May. He finished them off. They didn't become zombies afterwards. So the heroes, they just leave them because they want to see the zombie thing. So they don't stay consistent with their zombie rules.
But he ate Mary Jane like in a regular episode. It wasn't like a zombie thing, right? Ah,
We just-
I was not going to touch that. I was sitting here I'm biting my cheeks. I'm trying to keep
All
a
right,
straight face.
we are now going to have to put an adult content thing on our on our episodes.
oh, and another thing, we can't put this episode out for like 12, 14 years because I said I was 51. So this has to be, we got to hold on to this episode for a while. Maybe people will remember what it meant.
Too late. Anyway, let us know what you guys think. Did you like this? What do you think about the zombie Marvel zombies, the zombie rules that are in effect, and what you think about everything overall in the What If universe? Again, this is Jonathan Rosen along with Troy Cannon and Carlos Hidaraga. This has been Comics and Pop. We thank you for watching, and remember, please subscribe.
Subscribe.
Uh,